It wouldn't be a video of ours if there wasn't a playground. This is an airplane. I'm gonna get in that cockpit. I can do this, I think. I could probably sit in the back seat and fly. This is amazing. I can even sit in the front seat. This is all right. Steering wheel? Is that how it works?
Make a U-turn.
Very cool.
Good morning. I've taken the day off work because we are going to shoot a video about this little train and all of his friends that are along this track. Long ago, when we were living in Otsuka, this train line was called the Todanarakawa-sen. Since then, it has been rebranded as the Tokyo Sakura Tram. And we're kind of excited about it because even back in the day, Eric really wanted to go and shoot a video on this train. And it just didn't end up happening. Either other plans ended up happening or it just didn't happen. So today we are going to get on this little tram, which is one of the 2 tram systems left in Tokyo. There's one out in Setagaya, but this is like the main boy in the middle of the city that has survived. There were many long ago, but this is one of the surviving ones, and we're going to go and play around on it all day today.
So the first order of business before we start riding trains is that we start eating food. We need breakfast.
Yeah, breakfast is very important right now.
So we're starting at one end of the Sakura tram line, and it is got a little famous-ish, I don't know, famous, a thing that exists.
Well, what's notable about this is that a lot of stops on this tram line have shopping streets attached to them.
Okay, and that's kind of like old school Tokyo.
Yeah, it's kind of old school Tokyo. And we've landed at one that's called Joyful Mino Abashi Shopping Street. And the sad note, I think, is that most of these places are closed on Wednesday.
Well,
so
yeah, we can't tell. Is it closed on Wednesday? Is it closed for Corona? Is it closed forever?
Is it dying? Is it Wednesdays? Is it too early? Is it Corona? We can't tell.
Yeah, is it too early? It's before 10 o'clock now, and some things I've seen say they open at 10.
What I can tell is that there's only like one sandwich available. We're heading towards that sandwich.
Is that what you're looking forward to? There was a guy back there making yakitori, which is kind of strange for breakfast, but I start partly like kind of intrigued by that.
If you want to do that, we should find out how to do that.
Yeah, and then there was a little coffee shop too, but I'm not sure if I need a little coffee shop right now.
Yeah, I kind of personally want to get on the train.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say no to the little coffee shop, but I did already buy a coffee.
How many tram stops are there on this line?
30.
Or do you think we're going to hit all of them?
No, that would
That's a
be
lot.
way too hard.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to go through from start to finish.
Yeah.
But I don't plan on stopping really at every station because some of the stations, there's nothing to talk about, man. Nothing.
Right.
It was built.
I'm going to go backwards and check out the yakitori guy.
Okay.
And we'll see if it works out. I don't know if it'll work out. Maybe he's making yakitori in advance for lunch and it's like not ready to be eaten. That's what I'm kind of wondering. But yeah, anyway, I think that if people have been watching the background, like everything that we've walked past is just closed.
Except for
Closed.
vegetable.
Closed. And then there's like a vegetable stand that's opened.
Why are veggies like ready every day?
If you've ever wondered about the height difference between us, this is the height difference.
Yeah. It's hard to get a shot.
I'm average height. She's just really little.
Wow,
So-
I am the most average of the heights. I am the average between the male and the female. And all doors, all
I'm
apparatuses.
5'6".
All apparatuses are made for me.
So we have discovered a couple of things. We met a man who was selling these things and he was super friendly. He just saw us walking around, like I've got the camera in my hand, and he was just like, this area is completely closed down on Wednesdays.
So we did find out that that is the reason, which I think that's better than all the other reasons we thought.
Yeah.
The other reasons seemed sad.
So there were a couple places open and the man sold you that thing, which is an interesting, what have we got here?
Scallop, pork or chicken, squid, pepper, wiener, pork, or chicken. I believe this is chicken because it has skin. So that's what I think. And
That's a funky
the
stick.
first thing you get is the scallop.
I got a sandwich. And it is ham and egg, tomato, lettuce. This, to me, is less scary than your seafood and land food stick.
Seafood and land food stick?
It's like a surf and turf thing, right?
Uh-huh. I don't surf and turf often, so this is a fun experience.
How is it?
I wish it was crispier, but I'm not a yakitori person, so I don't know how to do this.
What do you mean, how to get it off the stick? Or how to describe it?
I don't know how to cook it, so I leave it up to the professionals.
That looks like a crispy wiener.
The wiener definitely looks crispy. That's kind of why I bought it. And then I saw the wiener and I was like, I could go for that. And then I thought to myself, well, what else is on it? You should probably know. And as like the excitement of the wiener was there, every time I saw a new item, I had to gauge how much it brought down my excitement about the wiener. And once it got seafoody, the excitement did go down, but it didn't go down enough for me not to still be excited about the
How do
thing.
you know that's not a sea wiener? That could be like one of those slugs, you know? So anyway, our location where we're at right now, behind us now is where that little shopping street was that we got everything at. And we are kind of just in a weird little alleyway.
Hello, good morning.
And if you turn this direction, it just pulled away, but the train tracks that we're going to be riding later are right here. And the train had been sitting right there.
I just gotta tell you that squid was on point.
Was it?
It was good. I like squid.
This is a weird little alleyway, though, for real. Like, what's around us right now is really strange. It looks like an old love hotel or something that went out of business. And there's this building over there that's kind of got a weird vibe. And, how to get examined stuff. That was the dude that sold you the stick of wiener.
And told us what was going down here and helped us get a bearing on the joyful shopping street that is a little less than joyful,
Yeah,
considering it's not alive today.
It's not Wednesday full. Are you saving the wiener for last?
Yes.
Is this roll going to roll until you eat that wiener? Can I have a nibble of the wiener?
Is it a sea wiener?
No. No, it's not. It tastes all right.
Yeah. The last items were the best items. The pepper was pretty good too. You want chicken?
Yeah. Oh, that tastes like seafood.
That one did?
I think just because it's been with the rest of the crew.
Oh man, that's a good wiener. It's important to tell lots of context throughout the day. Our breakfast has left us with trash, and I thought to myself, what am I going to do with this trash? Because Tokyo is known for not having trash cans. Thus, we call this the Gomi Game, where we try to figure out where the trash can is, Gomi meaning trash. So the Gomi Game is full on right now, and I took the trash to the bathroom in the hopes that in the bathroom there was going to be a trash can. But the overwhelming majority of people in this area are no longer menstruating. So that means that there's no trash can in the bathroom. Those were the thoughts I had a moment ago.
That seemed to be a lot of old dudes.
Yeah. Yeah, the dudes definitely aren't menstruating. Let's find out facts about trains that we are making up kind of as we go. They might be correct, we don't really know. But on the train you can see it says Tokyo Sakura Tram, and then over here there's a number. The first two numbers represent the rolling stock of the train, like the standard series that would be happening. There's 77, there's 88, there's 89. The second two numbers represent the number of that particular train within the series is what we think. So this is the number one train of the 7700 series. We also saw 7708. So are there more than 8 of them.
Of the 77s.
Of the 77s. So we're having fun with that already. And a huge toured group just got onto this train, so we're not the only people touring this train right now. We're gonna wait until the next one, so we'll find out if we get on a 77 or a different type of train. Kind of exciting. While waiting for that tram, I realized there was one thing in this area that I wanted to see. So we headed over there, and Eric has officially won the Gomi Game in this cemetery. And the reason that we're at the cemetery is because as I was just kind of going through doing research for this adventure that we're on today, I ran across an entry in Wikipedia that basically stated this. Its cemetery houses the remains and spirits of about 25,000 prostitutes.
What?
Yes. And I don't fully understand where the bodies came from. What it says is the dead bodies of prostitutes of the Oshiwara quarter, which back in the day was the red light district, that's where we are right now, who were too poor. Those prostitutes who were too poor, which it says was the vast majority of them, were tucked into a haymat and brought to the back entrance of the temple and left there. I don't really understand. It says about 500 prostitutes after the Great Ansei earthquake in 1855 were brought in, that treatment was done to them to prevent disease.
So the weird thing that's about this one is that the name sticks on each one of the tombs. There's tons of them.
Yes.
Is that related perhaps to the situation?
If I knew more about how burial worked, or not burial, but like laying people to rest.
It's very unique looking. Usually they're not this chaotic looking, like this big, just sticking out everywhere like this.
Yeah, when we walked in and I saw how many sticks and I knew the number of what they were presenting to me, it didn't surprise me. But when you walked in, you were like, why are there so many sticks? So yes, we don't really know why the claim to fame of this temple is a prostitute burial ground.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, it makes sense that if they didn't have enough money, that they had to go somewhere. So, yeah, it was a very interesting thing to read on prostitutes. What?
So, I don't know if anybody is putting this together, but we got a twinsie situation here. See this?
I need the hat.
Look just like him.
Well, this really cool painting that's behind me illustrates very clearly one of the reasons why Mino Abashi Station was chosen as, and get this, one of the stations to be on the list of the top 100 stations in Kanto. This is a list that exists. I don't really know why, but this station has been chosen. And the reason that it was chosen is because it has a huge outpouring of roses during the spring. We have come a little too early to see the roses because we heard that it's called the Sakura line. So we want to come and see the Sakura. But roses are its big thing, and it's kind of surprising to hear that a station's part of the top 100, especially on this line that seems a bit humdrum in my opinion.
But it's historically cool. Like, there's a lot of history in this line.
Yeah, there's definitely some history in it, and you know what? How's about we get on the damn train already? There's nothing better than a good map, even if it's not like incredibly accurate. But this one that's sitting right beside me is nothing but Toden Arakawa-sen. I kind of want this map at home because it's intensely showing you all the things you can do. I know about this swan pond. I know about this. But anywho, I wanted to show that we are starting in Mino Abashi, which is the end point closest to our home. And we will be traveling the 12.2 kilometers, the 30 stations, to cross over to the other side of the city and end up at Waseda. I am psyched. And we waited for another train so that we could look at this amazing map. So not very long ago, I want to say within the last decade, there was a crash on the Toda-Narakawa-sen with a car that had been out of service and another car that was in service.
Oh, the two trains?
Yes, two trains collided and 27 people were injured in the span of what we just traveled.
Oh my god.
And that was one stop. Let's get off. How do we get off? I literally did just knock on the door.
I think the dude has to push the button.
The dude should always push the button. I was so confused. Alright, well, we mainly just got off there so that I could introduce you to the baby station. This is the newest station that was opened, I believe, in 2006? A petition by,
Hold on a second. We got a thing.
Whoa. Did he have to wait for the tram?
He did.
Wow. No. In 2000, this one was opened by petition of people in this area to get a stop in their area.
Huh.
So the people of this region said, we want to stop here, and this stop was created for them.
I feel like we went all of 30 feet from the other. Can you still see the other station? No.
Yes.
Well, yeah, you can.
Yes. A great thing about this system is that none of the stations are more than 1 kilometer apart. There's no more than that, and we will walk some of them that are shorter than short. There are some that are so incredibly short that it's just laughable. So yeah, this is the newest station among all of them, and we almost got trapped in the tram. That little girl touched my jacket.
She thought you were a mom, maybe. Like.
I guess. She was looking at her family, but yet was still very okay with being with me.
You got cheek-owned. So Katie had explained earlier that this is a tram system, and it basically is just like a streetcar system. And the city used to be covered in these. It was like a major.
You showed me the map,
version
and I
of-
was stunned.
Yeah, it was a major method of transportation, and it was kind of like something that had erupted out of the early 1900s. Before that, actually, I read that they had horse-drawn carriages, like that were on rails that would pull people around. Like that's how it worked. And then in the early 1900s, they electrified it. And
They electrified all the horses?
basically, and then they electrified them out of work, I guess.
Yeah.
And then
That's when they started eating the horses.
it expand. They
eat horses here.
They do. It expanded until the 1960s and 1970s. And around the time of the first Tokyo Olympics back in the 60s, I guess, they started to shut down a bunch of these because they were doing infrastructure changes and stuff. And cars were becoming more common on the streets. And I think a lot of cities around the world kind of went through the same thing where they would shut down streetcar systems and replace them with automobiles or whatever. But this is the only line left of this massive network that used to exist. There is one other streetcar system, but it was disconnected. It wasn't part of the main city line. So this is the only one that's left. So that's what I was saying earlier. It's kind of like historically significant. And that, I think, is a big part of it. That it's like a piece of old Tokyo. And I've hung out with like older Japanese people that have told me about like, yeah, this is how we used to get around. Like these things were all over the city back in the day when I was growing up. Like it was part of daily life. And it's almost a novelty now for people to come over and ride this little train. It does get used for sure by local folks, but it's got a tourist draw even within like the local Japanese community.
Seniors can ride for free.
Oh, is that really?
Yeah.
Really? How
That's
am
why
I old enough?
when people were getting onto the tram with us, they were just flashing a thing that says "I'm old, I'm old."
Okay.
And then we had to stop and purchase tickets because we're not old enough.
But
we
our
got
tickets-
our day passes.
Yeah, our dates they were 400 yen a piece, and it's like all you can ride.
All you can ride.
Meanwhile, we're walking between two stations right now.
It's 0.3 kilometers.
Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that we were able to walk the distance between these two tram stops before the tram came.
I think you're right. Ooh, this is an 85.
85, that's 8503, baby.
Yeah, they look cool. I like the way that they look. Like when I think of Toad Narakawa-sen, this is the rolling stock series that I think of. I'm learning a lot of train lingo. It's really fun.
Get on the train, Katie.
Wait, do we want to
Oh,
maybe
you're gonna wait?
turn it off? I don't want to. No surprises, no spoilers.
What you got going on here? Do you fit?
I now work for the fire department. We're gonna have to. Oh, he's just whistling. I really thought that was me getting in trouble. But firemen would just come out here and laugh. Like, they would not care. They would be like, oh, she's having a good time. There are buttons here and I want to push them, but I feel like it's gonna be like a ah-ooga moment, like right into my ear. Yeah. This is a nice find. Decided not to get onto the tram because between the two stations there is Arakawa Koen, which has a lot of artwork inside of it. As you can see, this statue behind me, which I feel like would very comfortable modeling situation if you were the model for it. Just do what you're already doing. Oh, okay, yeah. I like this. It's huge, it's big, and it's silvery. I saw it on the internet and was like, I kind of want to go and see that. Next to it, we've just happened upon some sakura, which is one of the things that we waited to do this train trip. We waited a week so that the sakura would be more in bloom, and we are actually getting to see some of them. There's one little treasure that we're looking for in here that is reminiscent of our home. And by home, I mean our apartment and what's outside of it. So we're gonna go around and try and find this little treasure. We'll be back. We found another poo. This one's a little more human shaped. I don't really know what the poo by our house is shaped after. A flame, yeah, it's a flame, but this is the human poo.
It doesn't look quite as much as like it did in the picture. When I saw the picture, I was like, it looks exactly like the poo outside of our window. But this looks more like a person laying there.
It looks more like an accurate poo I might have had. Just a little bit. I don't, no offense to the artist, but I mean, you know what you made?
Fast. We mentioned that this train line used to be called the Toden Arakawa-sen, and now it is called the Sakura Tram Line. And the reason it's called the Sakura Tram Line is because the line is kind of famous for the number of cherry blossom trees, which is sakura in Japanese, that are running along it. And this is an area that's been marked on their map as like one of the highlighted areas with the cherry blossoms. And you can see some up above me, and they kind of like run along down behind me, and you can probably see them poking out over here. And this year is actually the earliest that the sakuras have ever blossomed, I guess maybe in recorded history, I think is what I read, or it's very early anyways, regardless if it's not breaking any records. Usually it's a little later in the year, but we're filming this in March 24th, and they have just started to pop within the last couple of days. Usually it's like early April in the Tokyo area. So yeah, we're kind of lucky that we thought of the idea to do this line at the same time, basically, that the blossoms were starting to blossom. And we honestly hadn't even realized ourselves that they'd changed the name of the train line to the Sakura Tram Line until we started planning this. It all worked out very well, perfect timing. And we got a really nice day of weather for it as well.
We are now leaving what is kind of like the easternmost part of the Toden Arakawa-sen, which feels really residential. And most of the stations that we've been in today, they don't get more than 1,000 people at the station per day. We've now reached Machiya, and Machiya also has other train lines that run through it. And it is a bit more of a bustling area. This train stop right here is going to get 8,000 people plus a day. That's a huge change from the stations that we were seeing earlier. but that's nothing compared to the metro that's on the that connects with it, which will get 62,000 people. There's a reason why the trams aren't really doing anything anymore, because everyone's going underground. I wanted to get onto the next train to go to the next stop. The train is incredibly crowded, like no joke. This is the heavy point of the train system. And we've decided either we're gonna wait, we're either gonna walk or we're gonna wait for the next train so that we can actually get on close to the end, because we only wanna go one stop. And if we get onto the train right now, we'd be pushing all those people. Get out of my way, old lady, I'm trying to get off one stop down the road. It would be very frustrating for everyone involved.
These parts of Tokyo have got lots of little shops in them that are kind of unique. They're not like chain shops and stuff like that. And as we walk along the train line, I noticed this little place that's selling taiyaki, which is these guys. Taiyaki is essentially a kind of like a waffle batter that they shape into a fish and then they put things inside of. And usually it's a sweet thing, like a cream or like a sweet bean or something like that. But this one had a bunch of different things. Some of them were hearty, some of them were sweet, and this one was somewhere in between, because this is azuki, which is like a sweet bean, and you can see that kind of dangling out the front of this fish's mouth, and cheese, which is not the usual combination. So I thought, okay, I'll spend 140 yen and find out what's going on with that. I'm trying to even, oh yeah, that's definitely got cheese. It's actually a pretty flavorful cheese. This combination doesn't make sense. On paper, it should not taste good. It's pretty good though. It's actually pretty tasty. That sweet bean with cheese in it somehow is working.
I think it's string cheese.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's string cheese. And the way they make these things is they put them into this two hot metal plates, and then they put the batter into it, and they put the filling into it, and then they put another one on top of it, and it makes the shape and everything. So it's kind of made like a waffle iron, sort of, I guess is a better way to explain it. But yeah, and it seems like she put some beans and some string cheese into a fish. So as you can see, we are at another train station, and this is the whole thing. It's just a platform. And the way that this works is that there are no station attendants or anything. There are no gates on the actual platform. When you get onto the streetcar, the driver is just checking to make sure that you've paid. And you can either show them your old person card so you can get on free, or you put a little bit of change into his machine, or you have a day pass like we have that we bought from the very first driver, or you use your Suica or Passimo, which is like a tap card system that you can charge up at other train stations that will then automatically deduct the fare from the little card. So it's a really, really, really slim infrastructure in the sense of like the number of employees that they have and the way that everything functions. And even on the streetcar, there's only one person working. They're one-man cars. They weren't always one-man cars, but they are now.
Yeah, that was a bit cramped for real. And I noticed that some people just kept moving down when they should move to the side. And then we get to the door, and the door is completely blocked by people. So, I don't know what to say about that.
So we were on that train and it was really busy.
Yeah.
And I used to ride this line like once or twice a week. I had a Japanese lesson that I would go to that was down the line from Otsuka where we used to live. And I always experienced the situation where old ladies throw on elbows. And that's kind of what you went through in there. Like, it's like, that wasn't as tight as I've seen it, but sometimes you get in there and there'll be like an aggressive old lady and she wants to get off and she just starts like throwing elbows and stuff, and it like is totally contrary to the way that things here work, you know, in Japan, but it just breaks down when you get with old people or whatever.
That's gonna be me when I get older.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna start throwing elbows now. Yeah. So we're at Kuma no Mae, right?
Yep, Kuma no Mae. not really much to say about this station other than the fact that the duration on the train that we just did in the really busy time, like with all those people, was the longest jaunt on the entire
0.6 kilometers.
Yeah,
right?
0.6 kilometers. So we really maxed out our distance on that one ride, and well worth it. I think we've now ridden it 3 times, so we have made
paid for your pass.
We've paid for our pass. Any rides on the Todanarakawa-sen are now free.
Sakura Tram.
The
Sakura
Tokyo Sakura Tram Todanarakawa-sen
is dead.
experience.
I like that better. So we're gonna go look for some lunch because it's lunchtime.
Yeah, we're gonna find something around this area between here and the next station. I don't know. We've ended up at a restaurant that we found on the internet, and we've gone towards it because they have 500 yen lunches. This immediately makes you assume you're going to a bit of a gritty place. This place does not feel gritty once you arrive at it. It looks pretty nice, and the inside is better than gritty for sure. And on top of that, they come over and they hand you a mask case to put your mask inside. How are they affording this if lunches are 500 yen? That doesn't make sense to me. And
It's an envelope, yeah?
yes, but it's more money. One thing I want to point out, smell-o-vision of this place, Campbell's chicken noodle soup.
So we've probably mentioned this in the past to some certain degree. I'm going to mention it again because it's out of control here. When you come into Japanese restaurants, sometimes there are like 1 billion menus on the table, and that's what's going on here. And I'm going to give you a quick glimpse into what you end up untangling. I want to also keep in mind, it's not a big deal for us, but if you were a tourist and you came in here and you didn't speak any Japanese, you would be completely baffled.
Dude, I was overwhelmed.
We took
a moment and had to do teamwork on this.
So when you come in on the table, there is a stack of menus like this, and they're all very different looking. This is a lunch menu that can only be used between 11:30 and 2. This is the current special. It says Sakura Soba, and it's a special type of soba that they have right now. And then when you flip it around on the back, you get a whole bunch of other stuff that I didn't even notice until I just now picked it up. So there's this whole mess of, and it's talking about like all you can drink times, in making reservations, and party types of things that can go on.
Time to end this video on a high note.
Then there is the menu for the salad set that I guess can be applied to anything, which is nice. And then you get into the binders, and got the binders falling apart. The first thing that comes out of the binder is a 2-sided menu, and this is talking about things that you can get after 5 o'clock. And it is different types of like drinking snacks, like basashi I saw on there, and different salamis and salads and things like that, and a bunch of drinks.
What's basashi?
Basashi is like raw horse meat. And then you get into more drinking menu stuff. And then this is different types of nihonshu or sake. And you just keep going, and there's more specials and things here. And this one's got pictures, and it looks completely different than the rest of the menus. And then you get into the next menu. And there's another one. Some of this looks redundant, like it was some of this information was on one of the previous menus. But then this is like the stuff that you can actually order from, sort of. It's
This
not the
I would
specials.
call the grand menu.
Yeah, the grand
This is
menu.
the standard. This is
yeah.
basically everything that we have, and then the extra stuff is special moments.
Yes.
Like lunchtime and izakaya time.
And this has got a bunch of different sobas, and this is the cold sobas, and this is the hot sobas, and this is the special udons, and just a whole bunch of other different things that was on here. I mean, this is extensive and crazy, and it can be, you feel like you climbed a mountain just by digging through these menus. And one other note about Japanese menus, when you come into a restaurant, if you have like 4 people with you, they will give you one set of menus, and everybody has to work from that one set of menus. It's like in America, you know, if you go into like Applebee's or something, everybody gets their own menu. That doesn't happen here. Here, they give you 10 people's worth of menus, but only one copy.
I ordered chikara soba. Chikara means strength. So I kind of feel like it's just like fuel for moving on. I ordered that one because I didn't know what it was, and I will eat this, and then the next time I'm in a soba restaurant, which will be like 6 months from now, I will probably order it again, not knowing that that's what I ordered last time. Basically, it's noodles. Got a nice soba noodle in there. The soup kind of has like a deep smell of beef, which I don't think is right. There's a deep smell of something in there that smells really good to me, and I'm labeling it as beef, but it might not be.
The name of this restaurant has the word soba in it, so I think this is like kind of the key thing to come and get.
And yet, soba was not on the lunch menu as a main. You could get it as a side, but not as a main. The soba is soft, like overcooked soft, but I don't really understand soba. It's been in this warm bowl, like when in this hot liquid. I'm not a soft noodle girl. That's a fair statement. I don't know what this is.
Tofu. Maybe? Some sort of vegetable? Tofu?
Tofu. Feels like a wrinkly tofu. And I've got like onions and bits of batter, and there's some yuzu in there as well.
How's your broth?
Oh yes, the broth. It seemed a bit peppery. I got no descriptors for that. Kind of tastes like meat fat.
Isn't that just fat?
A little lardy. Lardy.
So
that is my
the way you've
description
described
of
this,
that.
you don't seem thrilled. Is that?
No, I'd say that I'm
Okay.
pretty pleased with what I got.
Oh yeah.
I've got some onions. What do you think that is? It didn't come with any way to spice it up, so I feel like this might be your spicing it up type thing. I'm gonna regret this. Yep, that's how you spice it up.
Is it spicy?
It's not intense. So unintense that I'm okay with doing that. The little red bits are definitely pepper. That I've never seen this way of heating up your soba spice-wise.
It's not unusual to see like shichimi or ichimi or something on the desk. though.
Yeah, so maybe that's like the raw of the peppers that they would usually use for shichimi or ichimi. This I am most excited about, and I want the burnt one. I did not expect this was coming at all. Did you?
No.
Oh, I
So
should
it's-
explain. It's
like a
mochi that's been grilled and then wrapped in seaweed, which Eric is not going to eat that seaweed, I bet.
Well, it's okay. I like it in sushi, in like onigiri, so maybe I'll like it in this form too. Is it warm?
A little bit,
That's good.
but not as warm as just off the grill. I'm kind of surprised that the nori is happening. It's an interesting mix. I never thought to wrap my mochi in nori. It's probably been done, and there's probably a video of me eating it like that, and I never thought about this. And I got a salad that has crunchies on it. They crunch.
Even though we are at a restaurant that is famous for soba, I am not a soba person. I do enjoy it. I like the dish, but I've noticed that maybe periodically it gives me digestive issues, so I kind of avoid it at this point. So I ended up getting a donburi, stuff on rice, and it is a gyukarabi donburi. I almost think a gyukarabi is almost like a Korean type thing, maybe. But it's kind of like a thinly sliced, sweetly flavored piece of beef. It's one of my favorite dishes that I've discovered in Japan, even though it's not necessarily Japanese food. I really do think it's Korean-based. It's good. Tastes really nice, sweet, full flavor. One of my favorite things. And I also got one of the recommended. It says it's Osusume Nihonshu sake. But then she came over with 2 bottles and was like, "Which one do you want?" The Osusume one, the one that's recommended, and she was like, "Well, which one?" It's like, am I recommending it? Is that how this works? Whatever.
You're the expert.
Yeah, I'm not the I just pick. I was like, that bottle, I don't know. Whoa. That's good. It's really good. It's got a really, really full flavor. It doesn't just taste like jet fuel. Like the back of it has got a bit of burn, but it doesn't taste like you're just drinking 1 cup sake. Like those things are brutal. Yeah, it's just full. I don't know how to describe sake properly, but it is almost, I don't know, not fruity, but it's just got a lot bouncing around inside of it. And the last tidbit of information that I have is that apparently this restaurant is over 100 years old, and on the menu was it said the 100-year umeshu, which is like a plum liquor. I don't think this particular one is 100 years old. It could be, but I don't think it is. I just think that's his name because it's tied into what this place is.
I'll be the judge.
And Katie said she will be the judge. She drinks quite a bit of umeshu. Not like she has a problem or anything, but you have been known to have a bit of umeshu. Was I right when I said 1 roku? Was that the right order for you?
Yeah. Gotta get the roku. I would say that it could be quite old. It's very sweet. It's very relaxed. It doesn't have any bite to it. Like it's been sitting around, chilling with some sugar for a really long time. That's my guess. Is that it is more aged than.
Stuff at the supermarket.
3 or more years, maybe. Somewhere between 3 and 100.
Can you taste this and tell me if you can describe it any better? Am I right though? It's pretty flavorful, right?
Yeah. It tastes like rice. Yeah, it has an amazake kind of feel to it, or not feel, like taste. The texture is just straight liquid, but it is sweet and it is ricey in flavor, but not changing whether there's like rice granules in it or anything like that. So it's kind of like the adult version of amazake, where it's actually sweet but also gonna get you crumb. Point. When I said that other statue is something I could model for, or anyone could model for, this is not the same thing.
You got this. There's a little area here. It's called the Arakawa UN, and it is a theme park, kind of. I don't know if theme park is the right word. Amusement park, I guess, is a better thing. It's not like Disneyland. It's like a small thing. And we were like, oh, we're going to go over there and let's ride the Ferris wheel, because we think you can go in there super duper cheap and maybe just pay for rides like one at a time. It's not like, $80 to get into this place. It's like a couple bucks. But then we got here and it's under construction until next spring. So we aren't going to be riding any Ferris wheels. But I did want to point out, there's a Ferris wheel here.
We are at, what number stop do you think we're at right now?
10? 13.
You're a cheater.
Yeah, I can.
You're a big ass cheater.
I might have cheated.
Wow. Yeah, it's a stop number 13 out of 30.
Hold on, what time is it?
We're making progress.
What time is it? It is 2:44.
Whatever. You gotta just do what you enjoy, and so far it's been an enjoyable morning and slight afternoon. The station that we've gotten to now, Arakawa Shokomai, is the home of a depot. You can see that the station is there.
Shoko means garage, dude.
Oh, okay. I'm learning. And then the tracks go forward, but there's secondary tracks that also come in this direction, which if you head over here, and you actually look at the signs that tell you not to go in. I was like halfway in there and Eric was like, Katie, what are you doing? This is a depot, and they can take trains into here, work on them, clean them. There's a pit over to the side that they can push the train over the pit, not push it, you can just drive it. And then you can work underneath it without like really doing anything special to the train.
Not having to lift a train.
Yeah, not having to lift a train. One thing I thought was cool. From here, you can get a grasp of the different rolling stock series. On the left, you have a 77. On the right, you have an 88. 77 to me looks pretty baller. It has like good framing and an elegance about it. The 88 over here kind of just looks like a bus.
Too modern.
Yeah, not even too modern. Like, it was too modern in the 80s, and then nothing really happened with it. Yeah, so I'm a fan of the 77 over the 88. I was really hoping there'd be more of the series sitting here, and there may be different series behind the other trains.
There's a 55 right there. It's out of service.
Yeah, 55's out of service. Sadly, that graveyard of trains over there is not something we can go into. It's only open on the weekends, so that's a bit of a bummer. But we do get to see the guys going and working on these. I would love to go back there and do more stuff, like just touch them. That would be nice.
So I think we've managed to come to somewhere along the halfway point of the line. We're not sure exactly if we are at there's 30 stations. I don't know if we're at station 15 yet, but we're kind of near it or past it or at it.
Yes.
One of those things.
We are in and around it.
However, a couple stations ago, we went to a little shop that you had dug up that has some little snacks, and it is now fika time. Might be a little past fika time at this point, but...
And the snacks are Tornadakawa-sen snacks!
They're like these little trains.
Thus far of the rolling stock series, we have not seen the 9000. So I got that for myself.
Is that what you got that for?
Yeah, and I got you an 88 because it's pink and very Sakura-esque.
Okay, cool.
Yours is saying that it's heading towards Mino Abashi. Mine is heading towards Waseda.
Okay,
so we are going in opposite
directions.
directions. Oh no, the other side says it. So you can go in whatever direction you want.
This is some sort of quantum train going both directions at the same time?
Yeah.
How is that possible? So we are also in a little park that is in Oji, and this park is kind of famous for cherry blossoms. And that is the Sakura thing that we're doing today. So I'm happy to finally see quite a lot of them. And there seems to be some people out here having hanami. We're kind of having hanami on our own way.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just, there's a lot of trees. It's pretty. It's springtime in Japan, and it's got that cool vibe. I'm a big fan.
Shit looks like a train.
I need
Very
you
cool.
to open mine because
opening mine was hard.
I'm holding the camera.
It's not an easy peel.
I'd be ripping in this with my face just like this if I had to.
All right.
Let me see. Let me see yours. Show that off. Can you tap the screen? You can do this, like maybe pull it in the foot. I probably did it. It's always fun. So yeah, it does look like a little train. Cute. Do you want yours or do you care?
I don't think it really matters, but
Got a wind
getting your
situation.
trash from going down.
Just put it under my leg.
No, I don't want to hurt the box.
Oh, you're gonna what? Why? You gonna keep that for later?
Might keep it. It's really cute.
Yeah, do you care?
You know what? I need knickknacks. I only have like 6 knickknacks. Gotta get a 7th knickknack.
I don't know if we need these boxes.
I'm at least gonna keep it for like 22 days.
What were these called? I don't remember. What did he say? Monaka.
Monaka. Because I was about to say something that was inappropriate.
Toden means the train, basically, and tram car, and Monaka means, I'm not sure, probably what's inside of this. And,
yeah, maybe.
Okay, to the Toda Narakawa, the Tokyo Sakura.
I almost said Skytree.
Tokyo Sakura Tram.
There was the accident.
Yeah, it was.
Injured 27 people. I'm honestly not a fan of the styrofoam.
Neither am I.
I now won't even get like the ice creams with styrofoam.
Cones? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, well I won't get the styrofoam cones. I'll get other cones.
The waffle cone is superior.
Yeah.
I agree with you. The styrofoam is even lighter than the stuff that you get on like a crappy ice cream cone. It's like fluffier than that. And it sticks to your
breaks
lips.
apart. Yeah. Try not to look stupid.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I'm not a big fan of it, but the rest of it is fine. The total package is okay. But I wouldn't choose to put it inside of that. I'd rather have it in a waffle cone.
Very cool. Eric just pointed out that from this point where we're watching the Toden Narakawa-sen, by the way, that's a 9000. Yeah! Seen them all. So happy. The trams are now riding with the actual traffic, and that hadn't happened before. They've kind of had their own lanes for themselves, but now that it's getting into the thick of it, they've joined the actual traffic. And what I find interesting about the research that I did is that from this point we are reaching where the actual line emerged from. This is the beginnings of the Toden Arakawa Sen. It goes from the next station we're about to get to, which is, I knew I'm gonna butcher it, so I actually want to read it. Asukayama. The Asukayama station, all the way to Otsuka. Those stations in between, that was the original line, and everything else got built upon that. So it does make sense that, well, or it could be coincidental that it rides with the traffic now.
Well, when they expanded, they just built it so it had more room.
Yeah, they found the path of, they were able to do more in that way.
This area might have actually predated the automobiles. Because they, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's possible it was older, or at least older than popular vehicles being in here.
Yeah.
Like lots of vehicles, I mean.
Still thinking about all those ponies they electrocuted. So the train just rolled through, and there's like no space between it and the houses. We were riding on the train and we were like, wow, it's so close to the houses. So we just decided to get off and get a shot of that. This feels like Tokyo's San Francisco, like where you just associate these rows of houses and trams with this one specific area. It certainly just doesn't look like it, but it feels like it. This is the shortest stint. We're going to time it when the bell rings, because the bell's going to ring very loud. Here we go.
And how far is it?
It's 0.2 kilometers. We're off to a slow start.
This is traffic light.
Well, I certainly didn't expect that there was going to be a traffic light. That might change whether this really matters, because I thought it would be a straight shot.
I would say restart that once we start the traffic light, because we really only moved like 10 feet.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. We'll restart that. I really wish the bell would ring again, but it's not going to ring again. Between this station, which I don't even know what station we're at, there is 0.2 kilometers, so we're timing out how long that takes. That was Shinkoshinzuka, and we're going to Koshinzuka.
Feeling the brakes?
Seems about right.
Feeling the brakes.
That's feeling like a 0.2.
Are we getting off here?
Yes.
Okay.
About 40 seconds. Let's get off. Here's that map again. So if you were wondering, we started here. I don't know the kanji for
this
Koshi.
is Oji. And this is Shin whatever Koshi. We're here.
Shin Koshinzuka. And now we are at Koshinzuka. And here is where we can go to Sugamo.
Oh, okay.
So from here, we're gonna go and rub some elbows, or bat some elbows with some elderly people. Let's give it a go. Just before you get into the old people mecca of Tokyo, there's a shrine at one end of the Dori. And this shrine actually has a very cool statue, or actually two of them. There's another one right beside me. And it just shows you the hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil. Is that the right way to say that?
Yeah, in English, I think so, yeah.
Okay. I just thought that was very cool. I also thought that was only represented in Nikko. But, I mean, why would people not put it in other places?
Yeah.
Like, in my mind, I thought Only Nico. You can't have these monkeys anywhere else.
I don't think I've ever seen monkeys like this at a shrine. Like, these are usually the Koma Inu statues, you know, or a fox, a kitsune or something.
Yeah. So we've got
to me,
monkeys.
to see them as monkeys, I've never noticed that before. Neat.
Yeah, it was very cool to see it as I was just wandering through what you could see along the train line. So, yeah.
Nice going, monkey man. We used to live in the neighborhood between Sugamo, where we are, and another area, Otsuka, which is also on the train line that we're talking about today. But we have come over to the Sugamo area, and it was to look at the monkey shrine and also something we'll show you in a minute. But one of the features of the Sugamo area is their mascot is this duck. And he wears this red vest because old people wear red because it's good luck or something for long life. I can't remember why the red thing happens, but it's like an old person thing. So he's a red vest and he's a duck. And here you have what is called Sugamo no Oshiri. And Sugamo is his name. No means like apostrophe S, and Oshiri means butt. So what you got in here is this duck butt. And usually, under normal circumstances, you would come over and you would rub it for good luck. And I used to jog through this area every day, basically, whenever I go jogging a few times a week. And when I would do that, I would stop and rub the duck butt and then go on my way, like, you know, you're supposed to do. You're supposed to, you know, show what's up. But at the moment, because of the troubled times we're in, this sign down here says only looking, please, no touching. Because they don't want people, you know, coronavirus stuff and whatever. But anyways, the whole real... The point of the story here is there's a duck butt.
As you can see, there are a lot of shops that have either merchandise outside or there are vendors who have set up shop here. And that's because on the 4th, the 14th, and the 24th of every month, they do kind of like a matsuri, a little bit of a festival here for shopping. And just like Eric told you, what you see behind me says akapantsu, and that means red pants. Inside you can buy tons of red underwear for your grandma.
Yeah, pants means underpants.
Underpants.
You gonna go get some?
Not yet, I'm not old enough.
We're now walking kind of in a little area, not exactly where we used to live, but in an area close enough where we live where the vibe is basically the same. These narrow little roads. And just these houses and stuff kind of towering over you, and just, you know, the general vibe of this kind of stuff, like those buildings and these kinds of buildings, these kinds of white people you find walking around.
I'm orbiting.
But it sort of feels like, I don't know, a little tingle of home in a way. You know, we lived in this area for 3 years. So it's sort of, I mean, Tokyo is so big that, like, I haven't been in this type of environment since then, because things can be different in the different parts of the cities or whatever.
Different from Osaka.
Yeah, it's so vastly different than where we live now.
So what Eric and I wanted to do was to get to another station that has 0.2 kilometers between it and the next one and walk it and see how quickly we could do that. Not running, just walking. It took 40 seconds on the train. How long will it take the humans? But it turns out that the roads don't go directly next to the train. So at this point, we'd be zigzagging and we're gonna take a lot longer to do that zigzag. So I said, maybe we should just get back on the train. And what's great about the display that they have here is that it shows you where the train is. So the train is currently 1 stop away, and there's another train that's about to be 3 stops away. So it's a busy, they're turning them over. Does he really say take a break? Let's take a break.
Yeah, it says take a break.
All right, I can abide by that. This little bench is nice.
It's like the only bench in the city.
It is like the only bench in the city. Earlier I was searching for a bench. Could have really used this. Need more people like him.
So, I mean, we know what his thoughts are, take a break. But what about that guy? What are his thoughts?
He looks smitten.
With you?
With someone. Maybe me. I don't know. People sometimes want to know how we find little spots that we find. And for this specific spot that we're at, I looked up Koshibojimai station, which is the station that we're closest to. And I just started highlighting and telling search Google for notable things that are by this station. And one of them, what I saw in Japanese didn't make sense, and when I translated it, it didn't help me at all. It was just gibberish. When I told Google to show me what it was, it showed me this hill. It's just a hill. And I was like, okay. And then I noticed that that hill has a Wikipedia page. So more than likely, that's a notable hill. It turns out that this hill is so incredibly steep that it has been noted, number one, on the internet, and number two, signage that tells drivers and people on bikes and whatnot that they need to be careful. It seems the grade is 13 degrees or 22%, depending on which math you'd like to use to figure out how steep that is. It's pretty steep. It was amazing to walk up it and not be able to see the bottom of it for a while. It feels another San Franciscan note. So apparently the Todanatakawa-sen is the, what's the rice jingle?
San Francisco treat or something like that, right?
Rice-a-roni? The Todanatakawa is the rice-a-roni of Tokyo. We've taken our last ride. That was our last ride on the
we're gonna walk
on
the rest
thing.
of the way.
Yeah, we're gonna walk.
We're at number 29 of 30.
And we're gonna walk to the final station. And that's only because the stroll from station number 29 to station 30
You don't know the name of 29,
Oh,
do you?
no, it's something Ogamachi or something like that.
I don't know either.
It's supposed to be incredibly beautiful, and we both got off of the train and were absolutely stunned that the sakura are just explosive here. No other area has been as explosive. I'm just jaw-dropped. It's dusk, so, you know, maybe if it was brighter, they'd be even more impressive, but I don't even need
there's something about,
There's something about the time, and in a way, having gone through the day and seeing little bits and pieces of sakura while you're on the sakura tram, and then really having the end just blow your mind a little bit.
We were on the train, and I just happened to be filming kyde sitting there, and then in the background, all these flowers went by. I was like, whoa, 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 hold on.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we got like, well, I mean, you already had this plan. You knew we were coming to this.
Oh, I knew that we were coming here. I didn't know it was going to be so good.
Yeah, it's definitely good. And it's good to the point where there are quite a few people around us taking pictures and stuff, which is why we're wearing our masks and stuff at the moment.
Including a camera guy who got about 3 feet away from us and just held the camera on us for a really long time.
With like I mean, while we were doing this just a minute ago, while we were talking to you, he has this big shoulder camera, and he's doing this right now.
He's doing us right now.
Hold on. Let's get him in the shot too. I don't know if you
That's
can
the
see
guy.
him. Is he in the shot?
Yeah, he's right there.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me get rid of the tone and then give a little
There
bit
he
of a zoom. There he is. Hold on, I can zoom deeper, I think. Let's see here. Hold on.
There he is.
Wait. Hold on, there we go. That's all my zoom on this camera. Yeah, so it's apparently a spot that people come to. And,
yes, yeah. So he's here getting some footage which he'll probably sell to
the news
outlets.
He might work for a news outlet.
If you see us on the news, let us know. But we're basically just going to take a stroll from this station to the last station and enjoy the lovely scenery. Man, what a day. I know that we did a lot of stuff today, just random things along this train line, but there's so much more that can be done on the Tokyo Sakura Tram Todanatakawa-sen experience. There's definitely a lot more to be done, but we have gone all the way from Mino Abashi down to Waseda. We are standing here right now. And the little tidbit that I wanted to share with you about Waseda Station and all the stations from it between Ojieki Mae Station is that during the war from 1944 to 1946, this was shut down due to wartime. And I thought that was kind of striking.
But the other end functioned?
I don't know if the other end functioned or if some of the other end even existed. So I'm not sure about that. This may have been an extension post-war, or it could be that it did function. But this half did not function during that time. And, you know, there were worries during that time about things. Sure. So, yeah, and this could be definitely a target. Oh man, I just noticed that this is not capitalized, and that bothers the shit out of me. Oh my god. Whew. It's a 9000! That motherfucker can't even see where he's going. 9,000!
We're on the train one more time, even though we didn't expect to, because the train that pulled up as we were walking away from the station is the 9000 series, which I don't think we've seen today, have we?
We saw it. We saw it one time.
And this train is especially cool because the interior is like an old style looking wood paneling and stuff. It's like harkens back to like the good old days. You know what I'm saying?
It also is very like the Ginza line, the new version of the Ginza line that they put out. I mean, this is the newest series to come onto this track, so it makes sense that it would have a poshness to it.
Yeah. And this is something I used to ride this one. It felt like a treat when I would get on this one.
Oh yeah.
Usually it's like the usual one, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then all of a sudden you get to ride the 9000. And you're like, oh yeah,
9000.
Riding the dopeness. I also wanted to point out that I mentioned earlier that it's like a one-man system. So when the guy gets here, he literally takes the controls off of the control system and then takes them to the front and plugs them in, like the sticks and everything. And it's like, it's a cool-looking system. It looks old. On all the trains, it looks like mechanical. It's not like a digital system that they've got.
Yeah.
And he just takes everything and goes to the front, and then it goes that direction, and then back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And it's cool. It's just all operated by one person. I like the way the whole system works and everything.
9,000.
Today was fun.
Yes. They said it that way here. We don't really know what it's called. $9,000, so $170 to take a ride.
Who's this? We have made our way to... It's like a seal. I have no idea if they can hear that.
Something weird's happening.
I'm gonna start over, okay? That probably sounded great. I just finished the edit for the train video, the train line video, Sakura tram line video. And we gotta do the end card thing. Where,
you got to go on those Facebooks
so this
and
is the promotional
Instagrams and Twitters. We're on the Twitters. We're
Yep.
also on the Twitch every now and then.
yes.
And
I started doing some in real life live streams when we haven't been sick and at home, where I'm walking around outside doing Twitch stuff. So that's a thing that's happening too if you're into that kind of thing rather than video games.
And then straight talk about YouTube. You got to ring that bell. You got to subscribe. You got to make comments. You got to do all the chores to make the robots like us.
And most of all, the way that our videos happen is through the support at Patreon. Thanks to everybody at Patreon. And if you want to be a part of the team that helps us make these videos and get some perks from us, Patreon is the place to be. Links to all of our things are down below. And very briefly, do you want to tell everybody the good news about today?
I don't know.
You can tell them.
I have permanent residency. I got it today. It's a big day.
That's the end of the news.
The end of the
Great
news.
news.